Good evening and welcome to Gaming with Scott presents Behind the Masks, a Southgate media production. In this series, our heroes remove their masks so that you, the listener, can learn more about the player behind the character. We discuss topics of interest and encourage our players to go off the rails and down the rabbit hole. We hope this helps our audience get to know us better. Discussions and insights begin just after this music. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Behind the Masks. I am here with Dan.
Hi.
Marty.
Hello.
And Josh.
Hello.
We're going to do a, hey, what's cool, what's happening, what's going on with you. So, Dan, you've been reading some books. We heard there was some book learning.
Yeah, I've been. I just finished Brandon Sanderson's Words of Radiance, which is book 2 of, I forget the name of the series.
Brandon Sanderson.
The guy that did Mistborn, finished Wheel of Time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's
yeah,
like
guy.
my newest, favoritist, most awesomest author at the moment.
Why?
I mean, other than the fact that he writes good,
Yeah.
makes with good right.
Yes, he does.
He writes the good.
He's got such a varied portfolio. I mean, the first time I ever read anything he did was the end of the Wheel of Time, and if
Had you read the rest of the Wheel of Time before then?
several times.
Oh, okay.
And if anybody is going to go pick up that book series, on my word, please skip book 8. Read the synopsis. You don't need to read it.
Really, that good, huh?
Nothing happens. Nothing of consequence happens in book 8.
Nothing happens. Okay. Wow.
Bad.
Right on.
Anyway, so that was the first exposure I've ever had to his writing, and I loved how he ended the story. Granted, he followed Jordan's notes. So then I went and read Mistborn of his, and that was amazing. I loved the world that he built. I loved how he revealed the world and then the mysteries of what are happening within the world.
Well, how did he do? What was the give us an example, or a synopsis? How did he?
For those of us who are uninitiated.
Right. Mistborn is the story that the world that it's set in is fogged over. I mean, there's all this mist everywhere. That's what. There are people that are able to use supernatural abilities through the consumption of certain types of metals. The metal that you can imbibe, then you use it to power supernatural powers.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, a lot of the ones that can do it can only do like 1 or 2 metals, if I'm remembering right. It's been a while since I read it.
That's fine. You're fine.
And some of the super duper people can do like all the metals.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it was really clever. And it starts off following this like street urchin, and then goes into hero's journey, big, oh my god, oh look, I did not realize this is what was going on.
Oh, cool.
Save the world type stuff.
Oh.
And then he continued it. I'm waiting for this to come available from the library, but he continued the story after that. In like years future, it seems almost steampunky. I've been trying not to read too much about it because I hate spoilers, and a lot of times I read descriptions, I do things, I'm like, oh, I didn't want to know that. I'd rather have that been revealed in the book.
Sure. Well, and you do know that Gaming with Scott has a spoiler alert,
Right.
which went off in your ear once, and you were less than happy about that. But that's okay. I mean, it's all right. That happens.
But he's got a very varied portfolio too, because he's got this other series. The 2 books that are out right now are Steelheart and Firefight, and it's the story of modern times, but this red star appears in the sky called Calamity.
Okay. There's a vampire plot like that. That makes us all nervous.
Right. That's
Okay.
what I was like, where we're going.
Right. Okay. Got it.
And all of a sudden, people start developing supernatural powers, like Superman and all different kinds of weird stuff.
Like heroes.
No, they're not.
Well, apparently not.
Every single one of them is evil, is driven evil.
So like heroes.
Oh, this is my kind of story.
So
right
like
here.
heroes.
Really good. It's the story of people fighting against the heroes. The first hero they fight against is Steelheart. That's his name. He rules over New Chicago, which is New Chicago.
Nice.
When he
Clever. That's clever.
Yeah. New Chicago, right?
Wow.
When he first he turns the entire, well, not the entire city, but a huge portion of the city to steel, and part of Lake Michigan, like steel.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
awesome. He's a good hero.
Yeah. But they all have a weakness. And this is stuff you find out like really early in the book, so I'm not spoiling major plot
Brains
points.
is
Yeah, I was
apparently
about to
still
just
Heart's
go.
weakness.
Yeah.
You told us you didn't like the spoilers, and you're
Yeah.
spoiling the livings. And
This is like chapter 2, I think.
oh, okay.
Every hero, I forget what they called them. Anyway, every super has a weakness, and that's the only. A lot of them, it's the only way to kill them is to just figure out what their weakness is and use it against them.
Interesting.
Bullets, my only weakness.
There was a guy.
Funny you can say that.
There was there's all kinds of different superheroes. I keep using that word. That's not the case. Supervillains. All different kinds of powers. One of them, his guns don't run out of ammo.
That'd be kind of cool.
So he's Hollywood man.
Yeah, basically.
Dude with invulnerabilities over there, like, not Miley Cyrus songs, no.
But Words of Radiance, it's. I'm still waiting for the third book of of that series to come out for Calamity. It's like, Brandon just finished one series, please.
So Invulnerable Man was like and coughing up blood. You perforated my spleen, and we went, Invulnerable Man, what happened? And Invulnerable Man said, she came in like a wrecking ball. It's terrible.
But the Way of Kings and then the Words of Radiance are the first 2 books of this other series, and it's high fantasy, probably high fantasy, where the world goes through these cyclical desolations, is what they call them, from the Voidbringers.
Okay.
And it's been 4,000 years since the last desolation. And it's the story of the next one starting.
Winter is coming.
Basically. But it's
Clean that up then, geez.
the way he writes people, I love the way he writes his characters. I love the dialogue they have because they're real people. A lot of times in books you'll see characters who just are like, know or figure it out really quick, like Sherlock Holmes, and you're left like, oh, I should have known that. But these, you're sitting there looking at it like, I know what's going on. Will you please figure this out? Please figure this out. So
how do you juxtapose that? Now I'm going to put that to the table. So how, when you're writing a story, how do you have your NPCs? Because sometimes, dear Lord, you can't do it for the players. How do you have them, like, you've put the gun on the wall. If you put a gun on the wall, then the story says, you wouldn't have shown me the gun unless somebody's going to get shot. Okay?
Right.
So how do you not end up leading a horse to water and nobody gets a drink versus your omniscient NPCs? Where do you balance? Where's that balance?
Well, the trick is not...
Go ahead.
The trick is not in terms of how you get the NPC to do it, blah, 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 okay? It's actually in the misdirection. That's where the key is.
What do you mean?
I show you the gun on the wall. You as a rational person go, somebody's going to get shot. Then I immediately show you the woman who is being so savagely beaten that she's missing half her teeth now, right?
All right.
You forget about the gun.
Give you something else to chew on.
Red herring.
Story moves forward. Final climax comes right next to the same fireplace. You've forgotten about the gun. I showed you, but you forgot about it. Pivotal moment, he reaches for the gun. Oh, my God.
Yeah, or she reaches for the gun, and you're like, "Oh, I forgot about the gun."
Yeah.
This is he's going to try to
better.
hit her again. She's got the gun.
It's even better if he reaches or she reaches for the gun and it's not there.
Oh yeah, he reaches for the gun
set up
that
previously
that
and
you
now
know
you're
was
like,
there,
oh,
and he's like, "Why is the gun not there?" And he
Yeah.
turns around, and she's
yeah,
like, "Oh,
exactly.
she already went for the gun."
It's misdirection. I agree with you 100%. Red herrings, misdirections. It's always about sideswiping them.
Yeah. It can get you more into the character's perspective too if they misdirect you enough that you think exactly what the character thinks, but you're both mistaken.
Right. Exactly. And when you sideswipe things into characters like that, well, that's kind of how life happens, and you don't get a full functioning picture of the reality, and then I am going to choose choice A. You get a slice, and you got to make a decision.
So okay. I recognize wholeheartedly that life is not fair. Recently, there's been a new, and this has been the last couple of years, there's been the new want of they're having a conversation in a car, and you see the driver, and then you see the passenger, and you see the driver, and then you see the passenger, and then boom, right? There's that. You look to the driver, you look back to the passenger, and you didn't see the car that literally T-bones them, right?
Yeah.
Sideswipes them. When you do that with story to your players, you're the GM, or you're the storyteller, you're the judge, and you T-bone your players. It's not fair. I mean, like you said, Marty says you don't have a full slice of the pie. You didn't know the train was coming, but you're going to get hit. How do you hit them? That type of filming where you look to the driver, you look back, and there's that thing, has this visceral, like you can feel the adrenaline in your own body because you're all like, oh gosh, if that happened to me, like we're all in the passenger seat all of a sudden going, geez, if we got hit, like.
How do you put the players in that seat?
How do you put them in there without then having your players step back from the game, or a single player or multiple players step back from the game? And when you think about it, you just really did your player dirty. And if you did it well, then the adrenaline's flowing. They just feel like they've been T-boned. It's not really fair to do to the player, let alone the character. How do you manage the in and out of game while still delivering the major impact of boom, gotcha?
Can I field this one real quick?
Yeah, hit it.
Cool. Okay. What I would do is, one, you have to give them some sort of foreshadowing, whether it be syncopation, whether it be just
calling something to their intention.
And I would do it in a background sense. For instance, when you guys were playing in the Halloween game, your characters kept getting that scratchy, that butterflies in their stomach and then pinching, what was that evoking for you as a player?
Still hating you.
Right, but as a player, as a player, what was that evoking for you? It'd be when you didn't know what it meant.
Right, and the horrible part about it, I guess, was that when several of us explored that. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, let's go down there. Okay, obviously he's opening an alleyway for us. Like, okay, you're walking down the sidewalk and you notice in front of you you're getting closer to an alley. And it's like, okay, I keep going to where I'm headed. Okay, great. So the next block over, you're fine. And then the next block after that, there's another alley. And you're like, okay, fine. I go into the alley. I look down the alley. What's down the alley? It's just an alley.
It's an alley.
It's just an alley.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's like a trash bin in the alley.
A repetitious foreshadowing.
Yes, and
it's foreshadowing.
And boom, boom, and there's an alley, and there's an alley, and eventually we went, all right, fine. I'm going to walk.
You just ignore it after a while,
and after a while, you just ignore it.
Well, because what it does is the player actually makes the rational decision to do whatever they're doing in the intersection when they get T-boned. Okay, but if you foreshadow, then the player then doesn't feel manipulated. They're going, I should have seen
exactly because you continuously say 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus the whole game, and then when you land with the second foot is 1 plus 1 equals 2, and then oh shit, and that's when it all comes together, and that's when you're sideswiped. And that's when you're like, I should have seen that coming.
And good players will take that adrenaline, will take that misfortune, and go, yes, that was the greatest game ever. I never saw that coming.
Yeah, because you didn't remove their agency.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. If you realize that you're telling a story and you're doing it together, then it doesn't matter if every now and again Deus Ex Machina smacks you across the head with a bat.
Right. Well, and it doesn't necessarily have to be just Deus Ex Machina. I
mean, getting hit with a truck is.
It is.
It is kind of.
But yeah, I mean, but if it's the bad guy who's trying to run you over with the truck, well, then you're like, oh, well, that's what bad guys do. So,
right.
I mean, that's not. Oh, and then you died. Why? Meteor.
Yeah,
hit you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
so
From where?
so you have
out there.
so you have that you have the lead up with the foreshadowing.
Yeah.
You have either pacing or whatever to get them used to it, get them used to your foreshadowing, so they overlook it, because it is now their choice.
Yeah, they're skipping that on purpose.
They are skipping that on purpose. So then when you come down with +1 = 2,
right.
That's
they don't even. Yeah.
I think part of it also needs to be trust in the person running the game. Because
absolutely.
If you can trust them that you can succeed at least at some things, if not all of the things you do,
Absolutely.
then it makes it much easier to handle this was just something that was going to happen because it needed to happen for the plot.
Right.
Okay, so when you talk about trust, you mean like from a storytelling from a tabletop game or in a LARP? Like what?
Let me give you-
I'd say tabletop.
Who jumps into a game where they don't trust the ST?
So recently, I met
Honestly,
a new.
lots of people.
Yeah,
Seriously?
Yeah.
Recently, there's been a new player at our LARP. I won't name his name because I don't know if he would care if I did or not.
Okay.
Told me the story of the only storyteller he knew in his hometown, and started telling me some of the things that his storyteller had done to his character.
Okay. This sounds like it's not going to a good place.
Yeah.
Removed his powers through some mysterious disease he couldn't figure out.
I did that to you guys.
You did that with. There was a logical conclusion, and there was a way we got out of
didn't
it.
like it.
He's dealt with this for.
He said I didn't like it.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that planet.
It was,
And I didn't do it to you.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I did it to them.
The-
I
this-
boned to them.
The disease has gone on for over a year of real life playtime,
Oh wow.
and he's not been allowed to solve the problem and gain his character's
See,
powers back.
That's I am all for altering people's character sheets. I'm all for just changing their character stuff around, because in players under me that have played under me know this, that what I take away I will give back, and depending on how long you trust me with this, I will give it back in spades.
Well, and that's if you listen to his and I saw Dan and Josh just sort of go and kind of zone out a little bit. I have talked with Marty about this deeply, and it wigs me out his perspective and point of view on this. But I've seen the idea and I called him on a little bit of it, and I've done things where I've taken stuff from him, and he's been like, okay, yeah. And then I'm like, and I'm going to give you this instead. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah. And I'm like, he believes what he's saying when he believes wholeheartedly that you just go, yeah, that one power that you thought was really cool, yeah, I'm taking that away. Why? Because I'm the storyteller, and that's what I'm doing.
Because I want to see you struggle.
Yeah.
Yes. Not just to make it harder for you. And it's like, and he's okay with this, which is just, I don't understand.
Yeah. But this guy hasn't given his
people
power
can't
back.
deal with
He does the things where it's like, oh, we one-shotted this super powerful character. Oh, surprise, that wasn't who you thought it was. It was magically somebody else that you one-shotted because I didn't want this NPC to die, and my story's more important than your enjoyment of the game. And
Well, but the story is...
You can even use that
the
as an
ST
opportunity
and-
to enhance your story.
Absolutely.
Even if you go down that route.
yeah, that's the thing. That's what I told him. That's why I explained to this person. And I would not trust somebody. Being exposed to we've all been exposed to that.
Yeah, we have.
I mean, I've been guilty of that myself when I was running games for the first few years. Where I was doing
Sure.
Yeah, I hate
We all make mistakes.
You've never done that?
No. I'm just talking smack.
Oh, I know. I'm teasing you. That's
So it's just I wouldn't if I was in a game with somebody who did that at a pattern level like that guy, I would not trust them, get dissatisfied, and quit.
Right.
See, but that's my question. Okay, because there are some storytellers out there who are bad.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's just like bad storyteller. It's like you don't put a good story together, or you don't do it the right way, or you remove players' agency without making it appear as though it was their own choice, or at least giving thought to the idea of, well, I'm going to take away your choice.
Or
Those
making
are
it interesting.
or I took away your choice, but look at this cool thing that happened, and it's like, now deal with the fallout.
The one that is the most irritating is when the ST, controls plot thusly. Okay, you're in this room, yada, yada, yada. Here's what's happened. Your action, go. Well, I try A. Doesn't work. I try B. Doesn't work. I try C. Doesn't work. I try D. Doesn't work. I try E. Doesn't work. I try F. Doesn't work. What do you want me to do? Try J. I do J. That works. Yay.
Or like no hints, no nothing.
Yeah.
Well, even then, that's not what you need to do. So if you're an ST and you want to control the player, okay, what you need to do is you want J to happen. When they do A, let the dice determine if it's successful or not. Don't shut it off. Don't shut it out. If it's successful, tie A to J to move in that direction.
Right.
That keeps their agency, or I should say the illusion of their agency.
Or
place.
rather B or C.
You could even do it that way, too.
Yeah.
I always like having multiple solutions.
Mix some failure in with it. Mix in some success.
Right. Otherwise, they feel nose-led, and that makes me unplug from games so fast.
So like I was saying, so there are storytellers out there who I think are just not, there's varying tiers. There's bad storytellers, there's mediocre storytellers, there's good storytellers, and then there's great storytellers. I pick the great ones to play with because I want to have I have been told I'm a great storyteller. There are times when I struggle with that, and we all, we have ups and downs. But the idea that you would play in a game with an ST that you wouldn't trust. I mean, they could be a bad storyteller, but the idea of, I just don't trust that guy with my kid. Like, I would play in his game, but I know he's going to just bone me. Why would you play?
You may not know that going in.
Yeah. But seriously, if you're going to play at a tabletop game with him, you're not going to ask around, go, hey, did you ever game with, the guy with the purple thing on the side of his face? Did you ever game with that guy? Oh, yeah, we played with him. He's a prick. Thanks.
Of course, you're talking about, like, decades of gaming understanding and, like,
Yeah.
Lots of people don't have that right out the gate, And this is why they need to listen to this here podcast.
Yeah.
We will educate you, people.
And that's one of the things that we want to do. Is it's like and that's Josh and I talked about it last, and so we're going to take it. We're going to migrate a little further from what's cool right now. We'll get back to that, but because this is by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Behind the Masks is the game where we can go. We encourage you to go off the rails. This is what we do. So if you've listened to this and gone, how did the
But this is what's cool right now.
This is what's cool right now. Thank you, Dan.
Oh,
very, very
good.
Boom. Look at what he did right there. He went like, I'm going to drop that right here. I was like, wow, that's what's cool.
How very
right
Buddhist
now. That is totally awesome.
Bring it all around.
So Josh and I were talking about this last night, and he said, well, what do you want to...
Sorry.
Pink pajamas, penguins on the bottoms. We covered that last night, too. Okay, moving on. So Josh says to me, he says, what do you want to do with this whole Gaming with Scott thing? Because we've got the Marvel Live Play. Okay, and that's great. It's a good story. And we're having fun playing it. And the listeners enjoy the story. But so what? Like, now what? What do you want to do with it? And I said, what I want to do is I want to put together actionable advice for storytellers. You just pointed it out. Well, some people don't have 30 years of role-playing experience where they don't have that out of the box. Well, my response to that first was,
why you got to make Marty sound like an idiot?
I was letting that go. I was all right.
Well, because my first response was, well, why the hell not?
Right.
Like, why don't you have 30 years of role-playing experience and 30 years of storytelling under your belt?
Not all of us are over 40.
Shame on you. That's not my
fault.
fault.
You be not my age.
Right, exactly. So what you're saying is,
don't you know?
I had to slog to great story uphill both ways, and now you're just going to benefit from that. Is that what I'm hearing?
Basically
yes.
what Scott is telling you
exactly,
is that
yes.
The problem with your storytelling is that you ascended before you were worthy.
Yeah, right. So, but storytelling is just like every other
skill, art form,
whatever.
Yeah.
You stand on the shoulders of the giants that stood before you.
Well, and then
Thanks for
you
calling me a giant.
And then yes, because you really
Dan,
tall.
You're
the one that wants your shirts ordered in tall.
You're 6'8"?
6'8".
Yeah, 6'8". Like, holy crap! Like, how's the weather up there? You don't get enough of that, do you?
You gonna ask me if I play basketball next?
Yeah, no, because I know you don't. So I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Why, you don't have any time to play basketball when you're going up and down that beanstalk.
Yeah, right.
Oh, boom!
Nice.
That was really. I didn't see that coming. I was like, where's he going with this? Oh, that's very nice. So, but the idea of I want to put together
of my goose.
Yeah, my golden harp. Get away. So. So I want to put together podcasts that have actionable stuff where you're like, well, gee, I want to. How do I build a village? I'm playing D&D and I want a village. Like, what do I need? What are the things that I have? How do I,
Critical Role was doing something similar, a couple things like that. They're real short though. They're like 7 minutes.
Right, and they don't have to be long, but they don't have to be long. Some of them will be longer, and I will pull in other storytellers who I know are really good at the parts and stuff. But I want to build a series of podcasts that say, okay, so you want to build a character, right? Okay, well, let's say we're going to build a vampire character. You want to build a background. Here's how you build a background. Here's the 20 questions your character needs to answer for this, and this.
We have a questionnaire that'll do that for you.
We do have a questionnaire that will do that for you, but what I noticed that was lacking in that questionnaire, and this was the really, really cool part, is then I want to spin this off, and I wanted to do, and this is one of the ones that I've got on my notes, that I want to say, okay, so you've built this background for your character. Now, let's say you're going to build a Tremere. Here's the extra 5 questions you need to ask yourself. Let's say you want to build, and here's build X, build Y, build Z. Here's the extra stuff you need to look at.
I already got the idea worked up. All right.
Right. So once we've got, what, you got a problem with Tremere?
No, I already have a character worked up.
You're like, I've already built the character. We were talking about these. Right, and by the end of it, you're like, oh, I've got a character, and it should be really well backgrounded, and here you go, and oh, great. And we walk you through that type of idea. And then so that you can say, gee, you want to start your own LARP? Oh, well, we have 10 podcasts on how to do that. And here's the things you need to have. And here's the things you can't miss. Because if you do miss them, your game's going to suck. Because you didn't. Problem players, problem stories.
Multiple sites.
Yeah, how to get it. Have a backup site.
Everything.
Yeah,
everything
and everything.
under the sun.
Yeah. And the idea, okay, you got that one guy. And oh, my God, this guy keeps coming. And he's like...
Yeah, look what you did. Look what you did. You turned off
I
the
went
mic.
right there. Yeah, that was all me. I got all exasperated with the mic. I was like, and I got that one guy, and I'm going to do it again. I got that one guy, and he comes. I did it again. He comes to me, and he says,
I love your work.
He says, shut up. He says, I want to do Cultunic sorcery, man. That's all I want to do. I want to build my own. Everybody looked at Marty.
I've done it too. So
yeah, he did do it too. So no, and
everybody looks at me every time.
Or I want to linchpin a ritual.
Yeah, I had a lot of rituals linchpin.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
I was a walking arsenal. Anyone come near me, I'm going to start popping off rockets.
You are an epic level douche paladin.
Yeah, pretty much. I can straight up pull all the specialty classes.
Yeah, it was all that. So and it was and so the idea of after I ran a LARP for 11 and a half years, I would do pizza delivery guy comes up with a pizza. Literally half the folks went, Fleetness Fair Escape. And the other half went, is it ticking? And I was like, what? Like, they didn't even, like, they were like, we're not even going there.
Yeah.
That's not happening. Dominate, leave.
For the next, 3, 4, 5 years, you had all your characters had the 10-point flaw played by Scott Troiano.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, and I didn't even put it on my sheet. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we all pick up, reputations.
Yeah, we do, don't we? And it's that idea that, okay, so you've got a storyteller who's done a bunch of stuff, and how could you not ask around about that storyteller before you sat down and played with them?
Well, if you're
that's
getting,
what I don't understand.
Who do you ask sometimes?
Yeah, right? And if you're new to the scene or you just moved someplace new and you walk into a game store, you're not going to know everybody. You may not be comfortable asking those questions.
Fair enough.
Just sit down and
or
play.
If you just go to a random game store, hey, what do you know about so-and-so? Is he a good DM? You're like, who are you talking about?
We need a Yelp for storytellers.
Right. We do. We need a Yelp for storytellers. Oh my God, that would be awesome.
Well, no, hang on now.
Stelp.
You're being too black and white with it because point blank, Marty ran an awesome Halloween game.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
That left the players afterwards
quivering,
hating Marty.
No, there was a visceral response. Yeah, I walked away from that going, yeah, it was bad. It was like bad.
If you had asked me to Yelp Marty after the Halloween game before that, I would have given him a bad Yelp.
What?
Because I was so shook up from this.
That should be a good Yelp.
It should be, but it won't be.
While this was an amazing experience, it has wounded my soul.
Yeah. Show me where he touched you on this teddy bear. And I had to pop one of the seams open and pull some of the fluff out and go, he touched my soul. Yeah. It was bad.
Well,
It was bad.
it's yeah.
And because I'm self-hating, I guess. Or
But
just,
I mean,
was into that.
it's Halloween. It's a horror game. You asked me to do it.
Yeah, and Marty's like,
And he did it.
he did, and Marty makes it creepy.
I want
You guys
to
will
do
hear
that
that. You
one
guys
so
are going to hear
bad.
that here in a bit. That's our next.
I'm so
that's
glad
our
I
next
didn't have
Halloween.
to make like but one poll, 2 polls.
I know. Yeah, I do have some ideas on next time I run. If we go the fear route like we've been going,
No, I don't like that. We don't need to do that anymore.
instead of like the dark fantasy action adventure. But if we do a horror game, then I want to do that dread system.
What the hell is the difference between a horror game and what the hell we did last year?
That's a horror game.
I was like, no, it gets worse. I'm out.
Yeah, well, no, it can't.
No.
It can get worse.
No.
Well, like,
I'm saying,
God,
I
no,
can
like-
horrible.
I've known Marty for a long time. That was
can't-
pretty close to his top line, but I've seen it go much farther.
Well, as a production, I felt like that was
was
great. That was one of my best.
Yeah, because I got it at the very end. Because it's the dread system, right? So you know what this is?
Oh, I adore the dread system.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
I do want to add in like say make 20 cards, and of those 20 cards, like some of those are like make another pool after this one, or make another pool after whoever makes a pool.
The only
and stuff
downside
like that.
to it is that
You just give them
it
3
favors
cards.
people who have steady hands. So if you have players that have
This guy right here.
if you have players that have medical issues,
Oh,
with-
like
with something like that. Well, like, okay,
Well, I mean, it's
you don't want to
definitely
play
something-
dread mechanics with Michael J. Fox, right? I mean,
That's where I
No,
was going.
yes,
And I'm not-
you'd love to play
Yeah, you
Dread
do.
Mechanics
well,
with Michael
yeah,
J.
because
Fox.
he goes down and then you're fine. Like,
Look, you just got to run faster than the person
Than
next
Michael
to you.
J. Fox.
If it's Michael J. Fox, I'm sorry, Michael J. Fox,
We appreciate you and everything you've done.
but all
We're
I'm saying
going to
is
hell.
Michael has had a great life.
No, he's fantastic. He is absolutely fantastic. And Michael J. Fox, if you want to email us, that's perfectly fine. GamingWscott at gmail.com. But seriously,
Tumblr will take all
you
your
know how
hate.
we run into the barn and we hide and we're real quiet? That's when you're like, Michael, here, hold this. And you hand him a baby rattle and you just. and
hand him the bell.
then you run. And that's all you need to do.
Hand him the dinner bell.
Yeah,
there.
cowbell.
right now,
Cowbell.
right now it's Natural Born Killers, and I am Mallory. Bad, 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 bad.
Nice. So yeah. So you you just got to be able to run faster than the guy next to you. And all I'm saying is if you have those 3 cards,
I wouldn't leave you behind, Michael.
Yeah.
I grew up watching you when you were the
Look,
Keaton.
man,
The Keaton.
we could
Michael
just
Keaton. Yeah.
we'll just come back to it later with the time machine or something. So
Yeah.
We'll go buy a DeLorean and throw a flux capacitor
remember
in
the
it.
trash. Oh, sorry, wrong.
Alex P. Keaton.
Yeah,
I was all
right.
about that.
Although you totally
Or a phone
almost
booth.
made out with your own mother. I mean, let's be honest about what happened there.
Calvin
Yeah.
Klein.
Yeah.
That'd have been weird.
So
yeah.
I'd have laughed. It'd have been like Han and Leia all over
So
again.
so we got to a point, and I'm going to
Luke
go
and Leia.
spoilers.
Know what I meant.
Spoilers. We got to a point, and I was
haven't seen
waiting, and I was waiting for Marty to say one word. I was waiting for him, like, "Hey, so is this what's happening?" And he was sort of like, "Kinda," and I'm like, "No, is this?" Describe to me what's happening. Well, what's happening is there's sort of kind of it's this sort of thing, and I'm like, "What's happening, Marty?" And he goes, "This," and I just went, blah. I mean, just literally, I was like, "I'm done." Just pushed the thing over. I was like, "And I'm finished."
Well,
It was so terrible that I was just like, "And I'm out." I was done.
but also,
Game over.
I was building slowly with it though. I wasn't trying to smash you over the head with it, especially right off
He
the
was
gate.
building slowly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
He was warming up to Dead Eyes. He
Yeah,
didn't-
yeah.
You don't just go full Dead Eyes.
No, you don't go full Deadeye. Why would you
well,
do that?
Well, Scott went half
Not
dead
right
eye,
out the
yeah.
gate.
Yeah,
Not right
yeah.
out the gate.
And it was terrible. And it was because
That was part of my infestation, by the way.
it was building and building and building, and I got to a point where it was so. I mean, it was almost like I was vibrant. I was like, I don't want to hear this. I don't
Yeah.
want you to say this.
That's where
And
I
then-
wanted. That's
and
where I
then-
wanted everybody.
And then it became I dare you to say it. Because I'm going to knock this tower over. Because I'm out of this game. I'm not doing this anymore. Say it. Say it. And he went, Deadeye, said it. And I knocked the thing over. I was like, I can't handle this. And I was done. I was out.
Yeah.
Game was over.
It was great. It was great.
It was good.
I mean, but because it all comes down to this: do you want to have a great story, or do you just want to pander to yourself? And if you're pandering to yourself, that's just mental masturbation.
Well, I still feel you are
yeah.
so talented at running horror games.
Well, I
'cause
appreciate
you really are. You're so talented
Kudos.
at that what I really would like to see you do is split off
Run a horror.
on a separate podcast, but run Cthulhu.
Well, anyway.
Is that not your wheelhouse?
No. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just
It's very much his wheelhouse.
I'm gonna leave that where it is. It
I
has to do with
What did I do?
I think I know where you're going there. We'll just leave that alone.
yeah.
It'll be fine. Well, think about the hour and a half we spent earlier this evening.
Yeah.
Didn't you say there was better time to be?
Oh.
Yeah. Think about that. There you go.
There it is.
There it is.
So yeah, I am really up. By the way, I am so up for doing something like that with some people. I just have to. I need a lot of time beforehand because when I run stuff like that, like it really takes a lot out. When I'm trying to like keep on my toes and keep you on your toes the whole time, it's like sprinting.
You're gonna have to edit this out anyway, so I was just
No, I'm not. So
Okay.
far, there's been nothing to edit.
Okay.
Why? What were you gonna say?
You don't want to know.
Yeah, you were. Edit
If
it.
you stopped me at one point, you don't want me to go further.
Go ahead.
How much time we got?
We're gonna do what you do. Then we're gonna do it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
If Marty can bring the infestation factor to Call of Cthulhu, I would like to see that because, to be perfectly honest, I'd like to see Call of Cthulhu, and this is a technical term, done right. And then, because I think it would just scare the living shit out of me, and it would just the kind of stuff of nightmares. And
it's
that's
supposed
what,
to be
Well, hang
stuff
on,
of
question.
nightmares, right?
What's the publishing company that does Cthulhu?
Cube 7. Cubicle 7.
Do they have, as we're aware, any kind of open gaming license, or can you buy rights?
I think they have an open gaming thing. Or, yeah, they've got something there.
Okay,
There's something
the reason
there.
I ask is because I'm sitting here going, why the hell isn't there a Night Vale setting for RPGs? Because that world that they have built over all those podcasts is
I've not
so
gotten
rich.
a chance to listen to it either. I just
It's-
heard about it.
It's good.
I've heard a lot
Very
about
rich.
I've heard a lot about it, too, but I haven't listened to it.
I would
need to-
love
that's something I
nothing
need
more
to-
than to take Marty's brain, having studied the hell out of Night Vale, and be a member of the sheriff's secret police department and go into the library. That's all I want to do. I mean, I think it would be so fantastic.
Okay.
So,
And just
So if
knowing
you can
those
reach
do-
out
do-
to
do
them
my
and be like,
homework,
"Hey,
right?
can I license your town for an RPG?" Because
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's getting on this. It'd be off the chain, and then use the Cthulhu system, run it.
Well, or Dread,
Well, or I'd like to see Cthulhu.
like the
Call of
game
Cthulhu.
system.
Yeah.
Game? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'd have to.
Well,
learn
there's
that.
nothing that says you can't use that rule set and then use Dread to resolve mechanics.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, you like the Dread system,
Yeah,
don't
I
you?
do. I do.
It is. It's nice.
It speeds up story. It's so much.
It does until, like I said, like you
Until it
talked
falls
about the
over.
person.
Yeah, until it falls over.
No. That's not what I'm talking about. You talked about if you got that one guy with just the hands. Okay, that was me. I'm really good at Jenga,
dude. Surgeon's hands.
Like, yeah, exactly. And
That's,
it was
this is why I want to have the card thing. You'd be like, okay, fine. Hey, you made that pull.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. You got the card that says now you're going to make an immediate pull after you make a pull. Make another one. Oh, fail. God.
And I stayed in character so much so that I didn't have to make but a couple pulls.
Yeah, and I'm trying to democratize the pulling.
right. And what I'm doing is going, no, I'll take the pull. It's okay.
Yeah.
And I knew, and it finally mathematically got to a point where I went, I can't do that, so I'm not making another pull.
For
Yeah.
me, it is the fact that, and this is what's getting ignored with the pull, okay? It's the fact that you just declared that you want your character to do something potentially risky, and now you have to do an activity which is inherently stressful.
It adds.
It's an experience.
It adds. It adds to the story.
You know, we call these things a challenge or a test, but what kind of a
this
test is
really
rolling a
feeds
die.
into it.
Right. But when you roll the dice and it goes,
Yeah.
oh, okay, whatever.
Who did the work
Yeah.
on that, right?
Yeah, gravity.
Yeah. So like when you got to pull from a Jenga tower, that tactile stimulation.
Well,
really
your
ramps it
fear
up.
is the character's fear.
Yeah.
Well-
especially in the way I was doing it with as avatars, it really hones in
For the
on
next
your
one, let's
personal
not do
fears.
avatars.
Well, and it was funny because there was an added element, okay, and this was what was really really cool about it is, so we're all there, we're all around, and the first time or two, we went in to make a pull, okay, and I think I did an inordinate amount of pulling because people saw how good I was at it. Because they were like, "Yeah, let him take a pull. It's perfect. I don't want to touch this thing."
It's ridiculous.
I'm good at the game. That's all I'm saying. And the storytellers over here going, Dick, he's really good at the game.
I had to change some stuff because of that.
Yeah, he was like, well, then you're going to make 8 pulls. And I was like, oh, all right, fine. And it was like, oh, I hate you. So in the first couple of pulls.
And then he was sitting there with his knee against the table, shaking his
Yeah,
leg.
he started doing this one. And I'm going, what are you doing? You're moving the table.
That's dirty pool.
That was dirty pool. And he was like, what? And I'm like, you're moving your legs. Stop that. So it got back. So it got, and so you talk about adding to the game. So the first time, or the first 2 times that I pulled, we rolled into airtime that went, all right, well, he's going to make his pull. Mm-hmm. And there was like, no, and it was silence.
No one wants to do it.
and I'm leaning forward to do the pull. I'm off mic. I'm going. And the other people had to like, oh, okay, well, all right, well, we're going to talk. And they were vamping while I'm getting, all right, well, he's going in, he's doing that. And they started to like, this is how it goes south. He's gone in for the pull. It's horrible. The tower is listing. Down goes Frazier. I mean, so they're like play-by-playing this, or they're talking about, well, when he goes over here, well, if he jumps and the tower falls, does that mean he falls into the blender? Or does he just sort of like his head falls off, right? And so they're like, so as this tower gets taller and taller and taller and taller, now I'm like trying to block them out because you're right. There's the fear of making the pull, and the tower's starting to do this one, and Marty's kicking it with his foot, and they're over here going, oh, dude, no, not that one, dude. No, not that one. No, oh, my God. Oh, it's moving. And then Josh Jackson, he's like, it's moving. It's moving. You touched it. It's moving. It's moving. It's going to fall. And I'm like, shut up. And so the idea of, like you said.
It keeps feeding. It's a feedback loop.
Oh, it was impressive. The last pull I made, I'm like, all right, I got it. And then it was one of those where I couldn't put it, and it was and then I'm like, I got to the point where I was like, I'm done. I can't touch that tower again. I'll let one of these two do it. I'm not.
Yeah, he's like, I'll let one of these two knock the tower down.
Suckers.
Yeah.
But you were absolutely correct. It added so much because it's that fear of, and then frickin' Manny and Mo, and I go, oh my God, he's going to knock it over. You're going to knock it over. Hey, dude, you're going to knock it over. I want to let you know you're going to knock it over.
Well,
like, shut up.
The best moment in the world is there's this scary thing out there, and you're like, I'm going to hide.
Yeah.
And then you've got to make a pull to successfully hide. Well, it's the best moment in the world if the tower is such that this pull is really hard, because what are you going to do? You're going to hold your breath.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like your character is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
exactly. Well, it's a feedback loop. It starts supporting itself, in workload, and it makes the dice rolls work for you.
Yeah, it really. Well, and then it takes your character, and it says, so okay, are you going to make a test that's outside of your wheelhouse, or are you going to strictly play your character?
Yeah.
Because if your character does X and it comes up and you can do X or Y, and you kind of don't want to do X, making a pull ensures you're going to do X.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
So I enjoyed the dread system, and
it's a good system.
And if I democratize it just a little bit with like maybe a 3-card system, like everyone.
You just got pissed
cards.
that I was that good at pulling the tower.
Yeah, and that Dan didn't pull at all. I was like, I loved everything about it except for that. I was like, I want to democratize these pools to
it was
everybody.
like, scary thing that you said was your biggest fear, and I was like, I screamed like a girl, and I actually screamed and scared Scott.
He's scared. Yeah,
he screamed straight in the microphone. Yeah, screams. Yeah,
yeah.
And then ran.
That's what I did too.
So like, if it's a phobia, you're screaming and running. You know, like I can't make you make a pull for that because you're totally playing your character. You know.
Yeah, and he was like, and I leave. And he was like, well, can you make a pull? No, I'm just out.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm running. All right, you get outside.
Well, hang on. What was your worst fear?
Spoiler alert.
Wait,
yeah,
no,
spoilers.
never mind.
Spoilers.
I forget that it hasn't aired yet. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's down the road a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, this is February.
Jeez.
And it's in November.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Actually, it's in October.
Yeah.
October. I'm going to make it a 4. I'm going to make it a 4 game.
Well, no.
thing.
Okay, so he told me what his
Cool.
worst fear is. When he screams and runs to democratize the pull to make him have to pull, they pursue him.
Well, there were.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
We can't talk about
yeah.
It was circumstantial. You know. Why?
Well, and no, Marty felt bad. Marty went, here's one of your worst fears. You ran and screamed like a little girl. And Marty did not
hid,
want to take
basically.
his worst fear, tape it to a bat, and chase him down with it.
Oh, I know what I need to find for you.
And then beat him with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you
Because you could tell. There were a couple times when Marty was facing us with these things where I think I saw a genuine, like, oh, I'm sad I have to do this to you, but I'm gonna, on Marty's face.
there was an old game. It was a point-and-click style game, but it was very well done. It was back in the day, like in the late 90s, maybe mid-90s, I can't remember. It's called Sanitarium.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, do you remember that game?
Never heard of it.
That game
Phantasmagoria.
would F
Sanitarium.
you straight up.
I can counter that with the original Silent Hill. The first time the sirens go off and it starts going dark, there's a bunch of stitched together little kids you have to beat to death with a crowbar. If that would have been me, and I got goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps right now talking about it.
You know what made Sanitarium so creepy though? Because there's a level where there's like a town and a playground and all these kids playing. Yeah, that are like that. Well, but what made Sanitarium so bad for you is that when you brought up the menu to exit the game, load the game, save your game, when you moused over the option, the little ghost kid voice went, load game.
Yeah.
Save game.
See,
And it was creepy as hell, man.
Video. I have become more. I don't want to say immune, but desensitized to that kind of stuff in game.
See,
To a point. What was
Resident
You say that
Evil
now, but when you're all
1.
by yourself at a room at like 2 a.m. playing this
Thank
game,
you. Resident Evil 1. Okay, you remember the L-shaped room
I
with
hated
the
that
paintings in it,
No.
where you had to go.
I couldn't ever get the camera to look at anything other than the floor.
from
Oh,
youngest to oldest. So
Yeah.
so there's pictures, and you got to put them in order, right? Well, I started playing the game at like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Okay, so I get stuck in this room at about midnight, and you walk into this room, and you notice there's all these paintings on the wall, and there's a brass rail that goes across the top of the room, and there's like 15 ravens sitting on this rail. Okay, so you walk in, you're like, whoa, the birds. No, I'm not going. You leave them. Like, get out of the room.
Nevermore.
And then you're like, okay, they didn't chase me down. No, I'm really surprised about that. And then you come back in the room, and they're there. And you're like, okay, I'm going to walk a little bit. I'm waiting for I walk up, they attack me.
Right.
Doesn't happen. So then you go around the L to the short side of the room, and then there's a couple more ravens, but you're like, there's these pictures. Well, I spent like 2.5 hours trying to figure this out. Like, what do I do? This is the only weird place I can go. This is the only stuff I'm really getting, and I'm really getting, and I'm really getting. I'm like, just like, okay, well, you got to leave the room, and then you get a clue over here, and then you go, and I'm looking, and then you come back in the room, and you're looking at these things, and then you move 2 pictures, and then you press a button, and then you move 2 more pictures, and you press a button, you go over there, and you get another clue, and you come back. It's like 2.5 hours of this, and finally, I'm like, okay, I think I know exactly what I need to do. So I move this painting here, 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 and I go back to the main long hallway, and I'm like, excellent, I think I've got what I need to do. Press the button. Success. The lights come on, then the ravens attack. Like, I screamed out loud because for 2 hours I've been like, the ravens aren't going to do anything, and we're fine. The raven, and I screamed and dropped the controller.
1 plus.
1 plus 2. 1 plus 1 is 2.
Right.
And it was, that was the first video game that ever scared me. I screamed out loud.
Yeah. You ever play Eternal Darkness?
Yeah,
No?
that was going to be
GameCube.
my point. Thank you.
I love
No,
that game.
I have never played this.
Oh my
Have you
god!
heard of it?
You should get
No.
You should get an emulator and play it, or do something to play this game. It's amazing.
At the very least, YouTube it.
Yeah, because it's kind of Cthulhian. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very Cthulhian.
Well,
Right.
it's not. There's no kind to it.
Yeah, there's elder gods. You're learning runes. You're going insane. You have a sanity bar.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah.
As you start going insane,
What's the name of
things-
this again?
Eternal Darkness.
It's on
Okay.
GameCube.
Yeah,
Oh, gee. Well, that's never going to happen.
Get an emulator.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll happen.
So as your insanity meter goes down, things start happening. Like you'll be walking down a hallway, and the pictures will look at you and follow you.
And a lot of times it's subtle things first.
Yeah,
Yeah, that your subconscious notices, but you didn't pick up on. Yeah, that's-
until you're like, whoa, and then you'll like walk in a room, and your GameCube will blue screen.
It's
And then-
this number here.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
You know,
Oh really?
Cocked sideways as I'm looking at the screen, and I realize I'm like, oh, holy crap! I'm cocked all sideways playing this game because slowly the
Yeah.
screen started to turn
twist.
Oh,
until it was
seriously?
like
yeah.
180
Yeah.
degree turn. You know.
Oh wow.
And your character's head will fall off, or
Yeah, that screwed me up.
yeah, you just be walking, and it'll like plunk on the ground, and you're just a torso running
There's
around.
there's an
I was
Easter egg in Sanitarium, if I remember correctly, where basically if at the specifics point you bring up the menu to save your game, like you've done 50 billion times before, all of a sudden it's the scariest freaking thing in the world. You hit the escape button to bring it
delete?
up, and
Okay.
it's the guy, it's his face, and he's just going
Ugh.
and looking at you.
Yeah,
Nice.
But it scares the crap out of you because
Oh,
you're
sure.
like,
yeah.
I got hit with this one in the Eternal Darkness before.
Oh,
Going to
I heard it
save.
deletes.
Going to save,
Yeah.
and then I push down and hit, enter, and
Hang
it
on.
goes down one more,
And then it says delete.
and then it says delete and hits enter. I'm
It's-
like, no! And
Oh,
I got so
jeez.
shitty.
It goes meta.
I went
Yeah.
back. I was like, no. I went back to load it. It was gone.
It actually deletes.
I got so pissed. I turned it off. I'm walking back and forth. I'm like, I'll just do something else. I'm thinking, I ain't got nothing else to do today, at all.
I'm doing
there's
that.
Nothing else. So
You
I'm fine.
son
I
of
turn
a-
it back on. It was there.
Yeah,
Oh, so if you go out and back in, you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
we didn't really delete. You just masked it, for
was,
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
yeah.
was there.
It'll turn a little volume bar will pop up on the bottom of your screen, and it'll go.
down. Like you
and
turn it
mute it.
down and mutes everything. Yeah.
And every time you experience these, it'll suddenly go. And then
bleeding.
it'll load back to where you like before you walk in the room.
That's messed
bleeding
up.
screens.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh.
There was the one where I walked into this room and there's like these zombies milling about. I walk into this room. The farther I get into the room, I start shrinking down,
Yeah.
and everything starts kind of boom, boom. Like you can, everything gets kind of shaky as the zombies are walking towards you, trying to attack you. So what do? You turn back around, run towards the door you just came from. Well, as you get closer, you get bigger again, and everything's okay. So the farther you go into the room, so you can't proceed through there with having like no sanity.
Yeah,
Wow.
I forget the name of the game, but it was
It was a great game.
point and click puzzle
favorite
game.
GameCube game.
Yeah.
It was really cool because the whole premise
hands
was
down.
there was a serial killer, and he had abducted a woman, and no,
Home
What?
videos?
why would you?
I'm trolling.
Did you just say home videos?
What?
So I was watching home movies from when I was younger,
How do you go?
and there was this guy that he was abducting women. What,
Listen-
Marty? You are a sicko. And Marty makes it creepy.
Man,
There was the
Listen-
dead eye.
Yeah.
It was horrible, Marty.
What?
The dead eye. Go ahead.
So you were saying?
oh, thank you. Anyway,
Please continue with your story.
so the whole premise of the
I
game
don't know what
is
you're waiting for.
So you, I was interested in what you had to say, Josh.
I think you went to go pee. I don't know.
All right. So there we
He
go.
left his coat.
Right on. All right. Oh, he's headed way out there. All right.
I hope he watches out for zombies and demons. That's how I just worry.
Right. I'm good with it. All right.
So, when it comes to say say horror games and stuff like that, like our game. Really, I try to start off slow.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to give inklings and foreshadowing, and I let the dread of it, the dread, the dread,
Yeah.
Well, I let the dread of where the story is headed do the job for me,
Right.
do a lot of the make them uneasy. I'm going to prep other stuff,
Right.
let everyone else freak themselves out, thinking about what's around the corner while I prep stuff down the hall.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah, and it's a good. And when you can do it right, man, whoa! I'll tell you what. You guys just wait. You'll hear the Halloween game. This. Yeah, I got freaked out.
and I can't do a game like that with players that aren't willing to go that far.
Yeah, to go out on the limb.
Yeah, and it's hard
I
to
agree.
find that too. So,
Well, that goes back to trust. That goes back to how do you trust the storyteller? If you trust the storyteller, you're willing to go out on that ledge. If you didn't trust the storyteller, if you didn't know the storyteller, you'd be like, I'm not going out there.
I remember the first game. It was a a little hand holding. A little bit of hand.
Well, and that's why Josh made the statement that after the first game, if you didn't know the storyteller, you didn't have that trust, and you did that to somebody. Like the response is going to be like, I'm never gaming with that guy again. That was horrible. And I knew where to go. So the second time, I was a little more willing to give you the liberties that I gave you, and I was setting myself up to get pinched in the neck. But it was really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed scaring the shit out of you guys.
It was horrible.
So much.
And I didn't like you at all. There it is.
Now, I'd love to play in a Halloween game, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
I don't know if that's ever going to happen too. Well, you were the one that was like, I love a Halloween game. We can do the horror thing.
So Elliot's back. We should let him tell a story.
All right.
Okay, so what happened?
Oh,
Okay, so I remember the name of the game.
yeah.
The name of the game is called Missing. And the whole premise was that it's this serial killer who's kidnapped a woman, and you're hunting for clues and things on the internet and going through challenges and puzzles. Well, the really cool thing about the game was that when you set it up, you would give it your Facebook info, your phone, and stuff like that.
Oh, I wouldn't do that for a game. Ooh.
Well,
Go
I
ahead.
know, I did, and it was really
Yeah.
cool because
Wait a
here's what
second.
happened.
Was this that game that was online that everyone was talking about where you actually go through these videos that she does?
Yes.
Yeah.
See?
I heard about
And
this.
here's the thing: when you
Go
give
ahead.
it your
Her
info,
story?
the killer
No, I think you're talking about something else.
finds you and starts to send you emails, instant messages, texts. Right? Like if you don't play for a while,
That's
this was the creepiest thing in the world. I hadn't played in a couple days because work.
Right.
All of a sudden, I'm laying there and I'm getting ready to. I'm falling asleep, and my phone's like, boop, boop, boop. And I'm like, what the hell? And I look at it, and it goes from unknown number was like the text, and it goes, "Are you bored because she tastes like strawberries?" and I'm like, oh my god. Like, it was creepy. It was really well done.
Yeah.
That's when you call up. You're like, Mom, why are you sending me these? Stuff?
Oh,
I don't understand.
And Marty makes it creepy.
Have you met Marty's mom?
No.
cool.
Part of me is just like fear. I
Yeah,
don't wanna go there.
she's
I
amazing.
mean, I can't remember the actual message, but it's something like that. And
What was the name of the game?
Missing is the name of the game.
Missing. And that's the one where you watch all the videos, and in the videos she'll you're going through her story, and every now and then there'll be something.
Yeah, some
she'll say
weird-
something a little
yeah.
different, and you're like, wait, what was that about?
There's. I think you might be thinking of Her Story is the name of
Yeah,
the
you're
game.
thinking of Her Story. We played that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, we got ridiculously obsessed with that.
That's the one where you type words into a search box and it brings up videos with those words in them,
Right.
and then you watch them and you have to discover. I
I love all these
police interviews.
It's breaking that.
It was
that
interesting.
barrier. Bringing the game closer to the people, and I think that's fantastic
It was something different. It wasn't like
and creepy.
click
Right.
to kill the aliens or run
Yeah.
around, and it was new.
Yeah.
I've never seen a game like that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Or-
love Pioneer.
Or that one. There was a game kind of like the missing one you're talking about back in the late 90s where they would fax you things when that was still a thing people did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
So here's the question, okay? So here's how we do this. You give them your number, your Facebook, your Twitter, your phone, your
the
phone.
keys to the kingdom, basically.
Give them the keys to the kingdom, okay? With the prevalence of webcam, like the webcam, you open up your laptop, the webcam's facing right at you, right?
Right.
So what you do is you take you take a movie segment of the person just playing the game or sitting there or doing whatever.
I've had conversations about this. I've had this idea, yes.
And then it
Play
gets
it back for them.
No. You then add the killer or the ghost or the monster in the background doing something while they're...
Yeah.
And it'd be like, oh, this was you 5 minutes ago. And it was like...
Exactly. Play it back for them.
Augmented
so that way
reality.
they see themselves.
Yes.
Only it's all altered.
Well, yeah. I mean, how awesome would it be? Because you got the webcam of them, and they're like doing a search or whatever, and all of a sudden the killer with a knife is like coming in
Or
at their
rather,
neck and like looking
you
at
don't
them.
have to do anything as blatant as that. Just one movement in the background.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then... Or a figure comes into the frame, and then the frame goes like a TV thing, and it's back to normal. And you're
This is my compass. See that? My
Yeah.
hair's standing on end.
right.
When it stands on end, I'm like, I'm putting that in my game.
Yeah. And it's like that would be fantastic because you could, and then what you do is you do multiple scenarios. Like if you can see, if there's a bookshelf behind them, then you're like, oh yeah, we noticed this book on your shelf, and you just text them things like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like on the bookshelf behind you, and they're like, wait, what? And
Now,
if you see elements in the picture, then you can easily just go, well, on the book we left it on the third shelf.
And what happens when you get footage you don't want to see?
Wait. I have an idea. It goes exactly with what you're doing here.
I don't know.
This works better if you put it in a Kinect game. Here's why. The Kinect can even tell if you're lying.
Yeah.
It can tell and register, oh, that poster back there is NFL Colts. And it can tell you have NFL Colts. And then you start seeing advertisements for the things that pop up, NFL Colts.
Oh yeah, you could.
So if you have a camera that can do that, and say you have Eternal Darkness 2, and it's taking video of you while you're playing the game, and then throwing in weird stuff in the back, and say it's playing the video back for you. You're in the middle of the game, and all of a sudden it just starts playing a video of you playing the game half an hour ago with some weird crap going on in the background.
Well, and wouldn't
and only
that
you can see it?
Wouldn't be that, and that would be the crazy
blind
part because
fed.
you're playing the game, and all of a sudden the video switches to a video of you playing the game.
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, sure, I'm playing the game, and then something goes on behind, and you're like, you turn around to look at it,
And then
and then
something
you look
happens in the
back, and
game.
you're playing the game, and you're like,
Yeah.
wait, hold on, I'm not playing the game anymore, and then it cuts back to you to do, and it goes, and you're just sitting there like, what the
Playing the game like normal.
That would be
Well, you could get a good
crazy.
jump scare out of the when they turn around and then they turn
Put
back.
something on the screen.
Yeah.
Jump scare
Well,
out of it.
here would be something that would be really creepy. Would be you said it can tell if you're lying.
Yeah.
So let's say it's
have it ask you questions.
well, let's say it's accurate, right? Have it ask you questions, but have it be legitimate. So it asks you something, and the person says, "Well, no, you're lying." Whoa!
Yeah.
And then they tell the truth and be like, "Good honesty," and do that 3 or 4 times. Then have it ask them, "Are you going to die tonight?"
He says no. He says,
And you're lying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like, wait, what?
See? Yes, exactly. And just with that simple technology that we have with One Connect, you can turn the whole gaming industry on its ear for horror. And you could do that even more so with the Xbox Project that they're wanting to do.
Oh yeah,
If you have that project into your room, you can project a normal whatever. Just have it read the room with the Kinect. Okay, this is what the room looks like, and just project the normal game, whatever. But then you can tell like where there are delineations in the room. You can put a shadow here.
Oh,
Yeah.
what
Put
would
a
be
shadow
really
here.
creepy?
Yeah.
You
moving
know what would be
things
really
around while
creepy?
you're playing in the corners of your eyes and shit.
The game, if it detects a window,
And
it
put-
could
put a
project
face on the
some
window.
yeah, on the other side of the
Yeah, well,
window.
yeah, to project through glass, that would be harder than you.
No,
yeah.
you reflect. You project the reflection inside the glass,
Onto the glass from inside.
or
Right.
onto the glass, and then it's like out of the corner. What the hell?
It still wouldn't.
Yeah.
The reflectivity wouldn't be there.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
But you could project a mirror or project a window and then put a face on the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not going to have the same impact. But I see what you're saying.
Or
exactly, yeah.
you project the picture of the window and you slide it to the left, and there's the face, and then it falls off, and they're like, "What the hell?"
Well, it slowly slide the window or grow the window slowly,
Right?
and then have a face appear on the corner that it grew, looking at you, moving around, that disappears.
Yeah, a lot of
all sorts of options. The Xbox One is like a horror kit box that you can just destroy people's souls with, and I wish they would let me do something like that. Or,
I really wish they'd let me do that.
Or do it for me, whichever.
He is kind of ginger, so
That'd be awesome. Are you going to die tonight? No, you're lying. What the hell? Is your door locked? Yes, you're lying.
Yeah.
Am I in your house? Yes. Honesty. Good.
I'm done playing. I'm stopping. I'm done.
Oh my God, that is so creepy.
Exactly.
And on that note, thank you for listening to Behind the Mask. That's all for us tonight, and I don't want to go to sleep now. So we're gonna end, but I don't want to stop. Okay, we're gonna leave the lights on. Talk to you later.
we'll leave a light on for you.
Bye-bye.
Help me.
And that'll do us tonight for Gaming with Scott presents Behind the Masks, a Southgate media production. You can always send us an email at gamingwscott@gmail.com or catch us on Twitter. Josh Elliott is at Asmodee369. Dan is at Malkware. Josh Jackson is at ActionJack853. And Rico is at R1CO. Or me, Scott T, at GamingWScott. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/GamingWScott. Remember, superfans, the more you share, the more we make. If you love what we do, share it with your friends. If you don't love what we do, please share it with us. This show will only be made better by listener participation. Send us email or comments on Facebook, or send us a tweet of the things you would like us to discuss. We promise we will get your comments and topics on the air. And as always, you'll hear from us real soon.